E-juice, e-liquid, wicks, wickless, clearomizer, atomizer. If you're new to e-cigs and you're lost, don't worry. We're gonna sort all of this out for you. On the channel here, we talk a lot about, vaporizer pens, and we've mostly covered things for dry herbs. But, there's a whole other side of vaporizer pens, and those are the kind for e-juices and e-liquids, commonly referred to as e-cigs. But e-cigs is kind of such a broad term, it covers so many products, it can be a little intimidating. So what we want to do with this video is kind of take a step back, look at e-cigs in general, just for the beginners out there, help you guys wade through the waters, understand what the different products are, what the different terms mean, let you leave with a better understanding of what that whole category is about. So we are going to do a follow-up video where we do like a 101 on all the different vaporizers out there. That's a lot to talk about too. You have the vaporizer pens, the portable vaporizers, the stationary vaporizers, all the things that make those different, what makes them better or worse. So we'll get to that next time, but for now we're going to just stick to the e-cigs. So in a nutshell, there are, I think, like two main types. They're the kind that are preloaded with the nicotine inside, and then they're the kind that you can refill with your own e-juice and e-liquid. So there's our first glossary term right there. E-juice and e-liquid is just a term for concentrated nicotine oil. So if you're a smoker and you're trying to quit, this is the stuff that kind of kicks the craving and helps you kind of wean off of cigarettes. Or if you're the kind of person who's just into hookah and things like that, this is the stuff that has the flavor that gives you that nice, tasty hit. Now, depending on what your preference is, you're gonna probably lean towards some of the preloaded cartridges or some of the refillable types of e-cigs out there. Now we're going to cover a few of the big ones, so don't worry, we're going to get you covered on that information, and there's a lot to cover. Might be a bit of a long video, but if you're a beginner, this is for you. If you already know everything about this, like it, subscribe, but this video is probably not for you. So just a quick run through of some of the top brands. First you're going to have your blue electronic cigarettes. These are the famous ones. They do advertising. You've seen, I forget the actor's name, but you've seen him strolling along a beach or something in black and white, smoking his e-cig with freedom. So that's what blue is. Blue is the only type we're going to be talking about today that is a preloaded cartridge. I think they do offer refillable types now, but you have to keep buying the blue brand. That's kind of how they hook you into their product. And we'll cover some more of the differences in a little bit. Now the other types, the refillable ones, there's so many different brands for these. You have big brands like Atmos with their Optimus V2. You have smaller brands like Yocan with their E-Prod. And then you have all the other e-cigs, the E-Vod, the E-Go, the E-Go Twist. It literally, the list goes on like forever. But in that vast assortment of different products that are refillable, it kind of boils down to like 2 or 3 types. So what you have are tanks that have wicks inside of them. The wicks absorb, let's show. So there are tanks that have wicks inside of them. These wicks absorb the nicotine oil, and then an atomizer inside heats that oil up and it produces the vapor that you inhale and get the hit from. Now over time, these wicks can get burned and they can produce a negative taste in your mouth. So you do have to replace these kinds of, they call them clearomizers. You have to replace them every so often. The other main type are the wickless clearomizers. These, as they sound, are the same type of principle, but they don't have the wicks that absorb the nicotine oil. Instead, they feed the oil to the bottom, and the atomizer, which heats up the nicotine oil, is located at the bottom, so gravity just pulls it all down. It's just kind of a more efficient way of doing things. The wickless tanks are, I think, where the future's going. I think, the older types with wicks are kind of fading out over time. Then you have larger tanks. This usually is coming from companies like Joyatech or Kangertech. Again, many others as well. All the brands are starting to do the same iterations on everyone else's ideas. So whatever brand you become loyal to, you're gonna find a solution with them somehow. But yeah, these just hold a little bit more e-juice inside of them. I think the others are like 1.6 milliliters. These are 2 milliliters or higher. And again, these are a wickless type of clearomizer. So same concept there. Now one term I keep throwing around a lot is atomizer. Atomizer, as far as you should be concerned, it's just a term for a heating coil. It's just a battery is going to charge the device, and then there's going to be a coil that gets hot, and that's what's producing the necessary heat to create the vapor. So how many terms do we have? Clearomizer, atomizer, wick, wickless. We'll get a few more before this is over. Okay, so quick recap. Blue cigs and the like are pre-filled cartridges. They may be doing versions now that let you refill them. These are very simple. There's no powering it up. There's no charging it. You just take it out of the wrapper and start inhaling and you're good to go. Then we have our refillable ones, and these come with either wick or wickless clearomizers. They all need batteries to work, so you just attach your battery like so, attach and detach it, and you fill your e-juice inside the tank yourself. That actually brings up a very good point of one of the key differences between these two types of devices. So the preloaded cartridges, you're stuck with the flavor that comes inside of it, and not to knock on the blue cigs or anything, I think it's just a different style of flavor. Honestly, I would say if you're a smoker and you're trying to transition to an e-cig, I might actually recommend the blue cigs, just because the taste is more, I don't know how to put it, more traditional. It feels more like you're smoking an actual cigarette. Now, if you're from the world of hookahs and you just want, nice flavored vapor and smoke and things like that, I feel like the refillable ones are better for you just because you have more choice. You can put whatever kind of flavor e-juice you want. E-juice, you find it in any kind of smoke shop. It just comes in bottles like this. You just take the tops off and ta-da, and you drop it inside the clearomizer like so.
Now I know I just said things like the blue cigs are better for traditional smokers, but that's mostly because of like the physical similarity. So one big perk for the e-liquid and e-juices is if you really just need a strong nicotine kick, then you can actually get different strengths of nicotine with the e-juice. So to measure it in percentages and milligrams, basically just how much of the bottle contains nicotine. It comes in different strengths, 6 milligrams, 12 milligrams, 18, 24, on up. Maybe 24 is the highest. Higher numbers are higher strength. They produce thicker hits, bigger throat hits. That's the hit that you kind of feel inside your throat here that really gives a good kick. You get some flavor on that. So if you want the option to, control how much nicotine you're getting from your hits, then, the refillable e-juice, e-liquid type of pins might be for you. I haven't looked into it much. I'm sure at this point, the blue cigs and things like that must have different strengths. So, that's also something you can look into. And yes, my beard is gone. It'll be back in a second.
As far as the cost effectiveness of the two different types, I would say they're about even. A pre-filled cig, you're going to have to obviously buy more every time it runs out. But as we mentioned before, with the refillable ones, the clearomizers can go bad after a while. So you're going to have to replace those tanks too. And then you're also going to have to go and buy the e-juice to put inside of it. So weighing all those things together, I really think it comes out about even. I don't have like a cost breakdown chart for you or infographic, but it's all pretty much the same. Just for demonstration's sake, here's a blue e-cig. So you can see a fair amount of vapor. This is their, tobacco flavor. It reminds me of smoking like coffee or something, which, it's a fine taste. It's more subdued, I think. You don't feel as much flavor on the intake. You feel it mostly when you're exhaling it and maybe when you're holding it inside. And if you compare that to one of these refillable devices where you can put your own e-juice in there, these things are pretty well flavored, so I get much more flavor on the intake and while holding it in and on the exhale. So it's just a matter of preference, but here's a quick demo. Also, another cool thing worth mentioning about the refillable types of clearomizers, as long as the threading is the same. Okay, we need to talk about threading. So threading is just the type of connection that the battery and the clearomizer themselves make. So a lot of them are called 510 thread, which just means that they are going to connect to a battery that's also a 510 thread. I think some brands like Atmos have their own threading. I think it's just called 710 threading, but you have to have the same type of threading on your clearomizer and your battery for them to connect properly. So when you see people asking about the threading and 510 and 710, it's just how the devices connect. Okay, so as long as the threading's the same and you have an advanced personal vaporizer, you can use these to adjust the different voltage settings and get higher temperatures, which leads to thicker vapor and different types of flavors and effects. That's essentially what an advanced personal vaporizer, mod kit, variable voltage, variable watt, that's what that refers to, just the ability with the battery to adjust the voltage, which controls the temperature. So speaking of the e-juice or e-liquid, those are synonyms for each other. I don't know which is more popular, e-juice, e-liquid, it's all the same thing. But either way, whether it's preloaded or you're filling it in yourself, let's talk about the ingredients of it and some of the controversies surrounding, is it healthy or not? So right out of the bat, I'm gonna say, I don't think that e-juice is 100% healthy. I think it's healthier than smoking cigarettes, but obviously I think anytime you're inhaling foreign things into your body, there's probably going to be some sort of side effects. I don't think drastic, but I'm not going to come to this channel and say, smoke vapor all the time, all day, and you'll never have any bad side effects. For one, if you're kind of new to smoking, or if you're jumping on to the e-cigs without having been a smoker, you're still inhaling nicotine, so keep in mind, it may not feel as bad because a cigarette, you get the toxins immediately, your body kind of feels worse if you're a new timer. E-cigs, you're not going to feel that much up front, but if you overdo it because it just tastes good, you can feel a little nauseous if you smoke way too much in a short period of time and you're not used to it. So for the beginners out there, just take it easy, moderation. But having said that, the e-juice, it contains, let's look at the ingredients here actually. So the ingredients are, some sort of glycol, some sort of sugar, glycerin, natural artificial flavoring, and finally nicotine. So nicotine is the least amount of substance in there, and it's mostly just oils, fats, and sugar. So all in all, less chemicals, less toxins in there than a cigarette. So when people say it's healthier or healthy to smoke e-cigs, they're referring to the fact that there's just way less chemicals in there. So in that regard, yeah, it's just fact. There's less bad stuff in there than a cigarette, so obviously the conclusion should be it's healthier to smoke an e-cig. So I've covered a lot, and I've got my notepad here. I think I covered all the topics I wanted to, but I'm sure I missed something, so feel free to leave some comments below, ask any questions you have. We'll answer any of the questions that we see down there. Currently we do sell the Atmos Optimus V2 for e-liquids and e-juice. We're also going to get some e-prods soon from Yokan Tech, and we're hoping to get some Kanger Tech in here very soon, some Aero tanks and some mini Pro Tank 3s. So all those are going to expand the site just a little bit more, so it's not just dry urban wax that we're focusing on, but you can also check out some nice e-liquid and e-juice devices. So as always, that's www.vapethatstore.com. There's a link up there somewhere in this video, and there's a link down there in the description, so you can always check us out there. And as always, we'll see you guys next time.